I'd like to call to order the Gateway Board of School Directors Study Session Meeting Tuesday, October 16, 2018. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike, we have a roll call, please.
Mr. Boba.
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Gottman.
Here.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich. Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here. Comments from residents on agenda items only. Anybody wish to address the board on agenda items this evening? Seeing none. Section B, bills and financial reports, Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Section B this evening consists of our financial reports, specifically Section B1, list of bills for the month of October 2018. And again, this is our first run of bills for the month. We'll have an additional run of bills for the regular board meeting. It also consists of Section B2, monthly financial statements for the month of September 2018. And also Section B3, budget transfers for the month of October 2018.
Questions or comments from Mr. Schott? Seeing none, section C. Items previously tabled. Scoreboard, anybody wish to speak about that? Section D, personnel matters, Ms. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Under resignations, we have 11 resignations at this time that we will be presenting next week. Under leave of absence, we have 7. For employment, I skipped a page, I apologize. Under transfers, we do have 5 transfers for the collective bargaining agreement that we'll be asking approval for. Under employment, we are asking for approval for the acting principal, Dr. Edward Federico, to be hired at $275 per day, and this is in Mrs. Cheslock's absence. We have 2 substitute custodians, 7 paraprofessionals. At the time that we posted this, we thought we were full, but I will need to add an additional name or 2 by next week's meeting. Substitute food service, we have 2 names that we're presenting. Under supplemental contracts, we have 2 resignations, 2 issues, 22 volunteers. We thank them for their time. And we will also be asking for recognition of tenure for Sarah Creamer. Sarah has done 3 years with the district with satisfactory performance, and under school code she will be granted as a permanent professional employee. We also have an additional item that we would like to propose for action this evening. At our last board meeting, we had pulled 2 compensation and benefit plans for discussion. We are asking that we present that this evening for an action item. Resolve that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda item as listed in Section D for the study session meeting of Tuesday, October 16th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. McIntyre, second by Ms. Warning.
If I cut you off, Trish, I apologize.
That's okay, I was just going to say for the public's benefit.
I was waiting for a pause and I thought I got it.
And it's basically resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approve the Act 93 compensation and benefit plan effective July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2023, and also that we approve the educational support compensation and benefit plan effective July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2023.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call?
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Boba.
Aye. Motion carries.
On behalf of those people, we say thank you.
Conferences and conventions. Dr. Jacobs?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Williams. We have several conferences and conventions up for review tonight, starting with the 2018 Reading, Literacy, and Learning Conference, also the Oppositional Defiant Disruptive Children and Adolescents Conference, one also for the 2018 Paid Gifted Conference, 3 individuals attending the PASBO Conference, and 1 individual, myself, attending the School Safety and Security Exchange.
Questions or comments? Seeing none. Section F, administrative resolutions. Dr. Short.
Title I funding. Dr. Rossi, do you want to take this one?
Sure. We have one, approval of Title I federal funds for non-public school agreement with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, number 3, for the 18-19 fiscal year. This is in addition to the one we did, I believe, last month or 2 months ago. We have an additional non-public school that chose to be part of it.
A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McIntyre, second by Mr. Gottman. Questions or comments?
Sure, I have a question. In section 3.1, it talks about a figure, $2,650. It says, in consideration of the services mutually agreed upon as described herein, the school district shall pay the Allegheny Intermediate Unit $2,650 for non-public Title I instruction services as determined by the per pupil allocation times, the number of the low-income private school children. I think as it's written, we just pay one $2,000 fee, but I think what it's trying to say is we pay $2,650 per student. Am I correct?
They'll bill us by service hour. So if this is a tutoring service, the Allegheny Intermediate monthly will give us a bill on the amount of hours service that month, send it to our business office, and then we pay it quarterly or
Actually, semi-annual.
semi-annually.
So
So it's not a guarantee of that, because this is federal funds as well, not district funds.
So it's not per student, it's per service, right?
It's service up, but yes.
Okay. I've looked-
But the money's based off the
Students.
Okay, that clears it up.
It
Thank you.
gets confusing.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We'll continue on. Administrative resolutions. Dr. Chakey, can you take items 1 through, we'll say number 5?
Item number 1 is special education settlement agreement and release. Approve the special education settlement agreement and release for ODR file number 203991718 in a total amount of $7,000. And the terms and conditions as negotiated by the Special Education Council. Item number 2, approval of purchase for the general fund work cart with groomer attachment for the 2018-19 fiscal year. Item number 3, approval of maintenance and repairs to stormwater catch basins district-wide capital reserve fund for the 2018-19 fiscal year. Also on item number 4, approval of an advertisement for bids, general fund, maintenance of landscape beds district-wide, and 2 facility agreements, one with Atlantic Coast Baseball and Softball, and one with the Gateway Band Boosters.
Item number 6 and 7, Mr. Shaw.
Dr. Short, item number 6 is approval of purchase of atrium ceiling fans for a sports complex for the capital reserve fund for the 18-19 fiscal year to the vendor as indicated in the resolution in the amount of $15,956.50 and as depicted in Exhibit C. Yes, that is a real vendor name. I didn't want to say it.
That was gracefully skipped over, Mr.
It is officially recorded in minutes. It will be. And item number 7, approval of technology disposal.
I just saw it. Okay, I'm sorry.
And they are, in fact.
We can't even say the name of the company because it's foul language, the name of the company. Okay, go
Sort
on,
of.
sorry. It is.
Item number 7 is approval of technology disposal and required additional technology purchase for the 18-19 fiscal year.
No, I missed it.
That's as indicated and is depicted in Exhibit D.
Okay, item number 8, student teachers, Dr. Rossi.
Number 8 for student teachers, fall 2018 and spring of 2019, we have 5 student teachers as indicated. As listed.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, moving on. Resolutions presented by board members. Whose resolution is this?
Is this
both of ours?
the eligibility?
Yes.
Yes.
And the expenditures.
So it's both of ours.
So how do we do this?
It's an action item, let's make a motion.
All right, so moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Somebody want to read what it, a little bit about it for the public?
Anybody have a copy of it? No, it's not on the.
I could,
You have it?
I could summarize.
Are we sure? Because it's only listing revised policy 006.
That's right.
Yeah,
006.
it's at the, it's in policy 006 that we put the additional language.
For,
both in there.
They're both in there in 006. It's been on display, public display since August 21st.
Why don't you
It's
summarize
just
one?
the timing of the meetings, which took it into mid-October.
September didn't give us 30
Yeah,
days.
right.
That's why it's not.
Basically, it was a revision of the athletic policy.
Summarize each.
No,
For
006 is
extracurricular.
meetings. It's for the 7 days to allow, place an item on the agenda, and then the
Yeah.
expenditures.
but they were both under 006.
They are.
Okay, that's the part that was confusing me, because they seem so separated in nature that I didn't realize they were
It's all
both.
about
I guess it's
meetings.
board policy. Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll do the first two, and then you can do the athletic one.
Sure.
All right, so one is the 7-day policy where any new items that are brought forth to the school board meeting, the board members need at least 7 days prior to voting. As for the expenditure part, applies to Section F for administrative resolutions. And whereas any item that's on there that exceeds $100 would require would actually require majority or supermajority for it to pass the day of. Otherwise, it would encourage the board to discuss it and hold on to the next meeting to vote for it. Just be a little more responsible with money.
And as far as the athletic, or the academic eligibility for extracurricular activities revisions, we've discussed this at length several times. It's basically, the changes are, it's maintaining the 2.0, but
That
instead of,
policy's already
Yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that was already passed. so-
well, then what is
Yeah.
this?
Just
This is
7
just a
days.
7 day.
That's just
I
it?
would-
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so then,
We're
Yes.
good.
Okay, we're
Yep.
done.
okay.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova. Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Comments from residents on non-agenda items. Anybody at this time wish to address this board? Seeing none, we have reports. Start with Dr. Short.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Just like to commend the staff and also our central office team. I shouldn't say last Monday, but 2 Mondays ago, we held our professional development in-service activities. And it was a pleasure to see how the system that we put in place is coming to fruition. There was a lot of activity. Dr. Woods also joined us to provide in-service to our secondary staff on diversity, culturally responsive pedagogy. We had the University of Pittsburgh present as well, so very well received. Our teachers come away very happy and excited with what they're learning. We do follow up with surveys with the staff as well to get their feedback, to of course see what we can improve upon as we move forward. So just thank you for all the staff and also our central office team.
Dr. Chaky,
Nothing further.
Dr. Rossi,
Nothing further.
Mr. Schott,
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Crump.
Yes, we are posting this evening for paraprofessionals, and also we are looking for a staff nurse, so if you know anyone interested, please have them contact our office.
Mr. Dice. Mr. Ritter.
Sure, bunch of things. We had a Buildings and Ground Committee meeting a little while ago, and we talked about the track, the condition of track outside. I brought with me some tracks from pieces of track from other schools, and you can see that it's brittle, it's hard. I brought in a sample of a piece of hard rubber, an eraser, that you can't erase because it's hard, as opposed to a piece of soft rubber that does erase. It's just so the folks here and folks in Monroe all know that the condition of the track needs to be upgraded, and we're thinking about that right now in the Buildings and Grounds team. So, number 2.
And the folks from Picking.
And,
Mr. Ritter, did you say that was part of our track or someone
no,
else's track?
these are other
Okay.
tracks.
Are you allowed to do that?
Well, it's just laying around. Just pieces of
Are
track.
those other good tracks or other poor quality tracks?
Well, after a while, they lift up and they fall apart, and you can see that they're hard. Thought I'd bring something.
I'm sure that was joking.
I thought, I was just about to say that whenever I saw,
He
thought
answered
it would be
all.
Curtis.
All right, juncture.
Moving on, a couple more items, guys. I would like to see meaningful agendas routinely posted when we advertise our committee meetings. So rather than just say the date and the time and, like, for example, the policy number that will be talked about, tease it up a little bit, paint a picture of the questions that we're going to be discussing. That helps the public know whether or not they can invest the time and come and prepare maybe some items to bring so that they can discuss more intelligently the topics that are on the committee meetings. So when we advertise, not only just the name of the committee and the date and time and location, but a teaser as to the subject that we'll be talking about.
We did attach the agenda to the advertisement for the meeting, so it was posted.
For all. We need
Yes.
to do this for all. All schools should do this. Okay, so number 2, why not capture the essence of the discussion points? I did some fishing around and I saw that some school districts are good at capturing, a complete transcript of the occurrence of the meetings. Some just capture a summary and some just capture the date and time and the attendance. So I would like to see maybe a half page would be good. A summary of what happened at the meeting and the major points. Now, the policy that we have only requires us to capture the minimal amount. I'd like to see us go a little bit over and above that. So in the future, when people want to look back on what we've done at certain committee meetings, they can see the issues that were raised. This is a good historical approach, and it adds value to the meetings that we have. Number 3, we have in the policy that we videotape board meetings and then we broadcast them and then we destroy them after a year. I think what we ought to do, because this policy was probably written a long time ago, why not keep these electronically for longer than a year? And again, for historical purposes, we might need to go back 4, 5, 6 years and ask the question, what were the discussions? What were the main points? We can pull those out and maybe learn historically why people did what they did. Next, I'd like to begin re-raising the issue of posting the national motto in schools. It's been approved nationally and in Pennsylvania that we can and should be able to post the national motto in schools. So I'd like to bring that up and maybe make an action item on that. Next, I decided against attending the PSBA's 2018-2019 Delegate Assembly on October 19th in Hershey, PA. That's where I was sent by our school to talk about using advanced technology for providing better healthcare services for our students. And the kickback that I got there was, there could be risks involved, and it's already covered in a higher level policy. So rather than go argue again the same point and reject it again, I did some investigating and I found that advanced technology is being used in many other states. Senate Bill 780 is now in the process of being passed through the House. So advanced technology, the door's being opened right now, so schools should begin to be able to use that. So I think PSBA is a little bit behind the curve on this, but we should not be afraid to take the lead. So taking the lead in other avenues rather than going through the PSBA route. In other words, they can follow. If I give them the opportunity to lead, they can follow if they want. That's okay. Next, we had a See You at the Poll event held recently. I didn't hear anything about it, so if there are any students out there who would like to come and make a report to the board, I'd love to hear what happened. Next, I'd like to invite the class presidents and the vice presidents to come speak to the board and introduce yourselves. We don't know who you are. So come, please share who you are, what your team does, how many students you have on your team, what your targets are for the year. Just give us a 3 to 5 minute presentation. Introduce yourself to us. We don't bite. Next, PSBA recently released their bulletin. All the school board members got this today, and I looked on page 34, and I found that an annual retreat or planning session is performed by 34% of the school districts in Pennsylvania and not performed by 66. So some of the school districts are able to have an annual retreat or planning session. I was hoping that we could have a little planning session for our team here, plan some things out, and there was a question as to whether or not this fell under the sunshine rules. I think it doesn't, some think it does, but 34% were able to successfully hold annual retreats or planning sessions. So I think we ought to raise that so that our board can get together, put our heads together, and see if we can come up with something that we hadn't thought of perhaps for the next upcoming year. Next, when will the policy committee meeting be broadcast on the local cable access? The team has been doing a good job of broadcasting and rebroadcasting some of the meetings that we've been having. I'm still missing the policy committee meeting that we just had. Lastly, the League of Women Voters will host a debate between the candidates for the 25th Legislative District on Wednesday, October 24th at 6 p.m. at the Allegheny County Community College Boyce campus. Please, people in the public, please bring your questions and concerns about education-related topics. There are many of them that weigh on me, like opioids and how to protect the kids, how to advance healthcare information technology, how to pay for what we have, and on and on and on. So let's bring these and let's stir the pot a little bit. That'll be Wednesday, October 24th, 6 p.m. at Boyce campus. Okay? And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
I would actually just like to comment on the retreat idea. I certainly understand the desire to share information and ideas and advance the conversation, but this is our attempt to do that. We do it a couple times a month, and the public is reasonably concerned when people in our positions go behind closed doors and discuss things. And that's why we've come up with this system. And we can always communicate amongst ourselves in smaller groups, which also is useful. I appreciate your perspective. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. I just think there are more transparent ways of doing it that, of course, hopefully can accomplish the same thing, especially with all the different ways we have to communicate. So I'm not sure when that discussion or debate needs to happen. Maybe we should have a retreat to discuss it. Just kidding. But, this is that's all. I think it opens doors to when we come back after a retreat and we start acting on things. Is this something they worked out up there, over there? Why didn't we have input into this? So we've discussed it before, you and I, and I'm still comfortable with the idea that it's a bad idea. That's it.
Very good.
So, you have a response, that'd be good?
Sure, I do have a response. There are some things that just are, that can and should be researched and talked about, experts brought in, so that we can learn some of the areas that we're not educated in. So we can have informational topics brought to us so that we can deliberate them, understand them, perform more research. Then we can build a battle plan. We can take that to the public, see what they think about it, follow their lead. We're here to serve the public, not ourselves. So 34% of the school districts thought it was necessary to build some battle plans, and they got together and were able to do it. Not all school districts are successful at it. We might not be successful. But I think it might be a good idea for us to get together. We've never done it, as long as I've been on the school board, and see how it goes.
And again, understood, 66% obviously don't think it's a good idea, nor do we know how useful the 34% have been. But perfect example of how this thing works is, we had a drawn-out scoreboard debate, and it happened right here in front of the people, and it was a little messy, and it was a little unpleasant, and maybe we could have, should have handled it differently, but it was all right out here for folks to see. And
I'm pretty comfortable with, that's the way it should happen. If we need a scoreboard expert to come in here, we got people in the audience who are smart enough to understand what they're presenting. We can ask them questions. The folks in the audience occasionally ask them questions. So, again, I understand both sides of the argument. I'm pretty solidly opposed to it. And,
Very good.
that's all I got. Thank you.
Ms. Warren?
Yes, I just want to, Dr. Short, can you just touch on the latest recognition that UP?
Yes, in fact, I had just talked to a couple of colleagues over here that I was going to invite the University Park principal in next week for acknowledgement of a distinguished award from the Department of Pennsylvania Department of Education for outstanding work.
Don't tell them to come back.
Yes, so I will be acknowledging them in the public.
This would be a good meeting to tease a little bit.
Yes,
Please, you have to come
which I
back
just
and
did,
hear
yes.
us next week.
Okay, and I just want to wish good luck to the girls soccer team. They're potentially play off-bound. They're playing this evening, don't know what the score is yet. And to all the fall sports, good luck, that's it.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Nothing this evening.
Dr. Kelly?
Nothing further.
Yeah, normally I usually save this segment for the regular board meetings, but I'm very happy to say that the art department answered the call, and we have brand-new artwork. We have both drawing and digital photography, and as you can see, we have all sorts of things up here, including our Lombardi Trophy we're hoping to get this year. So thank you, art department, for providing this, and I'm looking forward to next month's selection. That is all.
Mr. McIntyre?